morning, we thought we would switch it up with our lives and try a little late morning, early afternoon live for you guys here. So today we are going to be talking about a few training tips, our top 3 things that we want you guys working on in order to help your dogs adjust to different environmental changes that will be happening due to the pandemic and post-pandemic. We will likely have some societal changes that we'll be experiencing even as we stop social distancing. And so we want to make sure that we're preparing our dogs now for those changes because it's going to reduce a lot of stress down the road for us and for our dogs. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is eye contact and response to cues. So we talk a lot about generalizing and how sometimes it's hard for dogs to generalize. If we only work on eye contact or sit or down in the house, we're going to have a lot of success in the house, but the moment we start to change environments, we're going to have trouble. Our dog is not going to be able to generalize that cue of watch me or sit like they do inside. Dogs are very sensitive to changes in environment. And so even something as simple as turning my body away from my dog or facing a wall or stepping outside, that's going to have a huge impact on whether or not my dog is able to respond to the cue. So a lot of the times in our group classes, we do a fun little Simon Says game where we have our students pick one behavior. Generally, we recommend that they pick the behavior that they think their dog is strongest at. And then we say, Simon says, lift an arm. Simon says, sit. And the human has to do those things while the dog responds to the cue of sit or down or settle, whatever they have chosen. And people are always surprised with how simple body changes, positions, where I'm standing, how I'm standing, what I'm doing, has such a big impact on our dog's ability to respond to a behavior. So when we are talking specifically about the pandemic, we want to think about what environmental changes are there going to be. And a big one is face masks. And not only is that going to draw our dog's attention away from us, maybe even scare them if we have a puppy or a dog who's very soft in temperament, but it also is going to change our dog's ability to respond to us. So what I want you guys to do, if you have a mask, take it out. If you don't have a mask, grab a scarf or a bandana, something that you can put around this part of your face. And we're going to block this part so that our dogs can't see it. And we're going to practice a little bit of attention or a cue that they know really well, like a sit or a down. So I've got Lucy with me here today, and I'm going to put a face mask on and kind of demonstrate what that first part will look like. All right, pretty girl, you ready? Hi, cute. All right. Lucy. 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 Good. Lucy. Good. Lucy. Nice. So in this circumstance, what I'm looking for from her is direct eye contact. And this is a skill that she has practiced for years, but you could see that it was a little more challenging for her. You know, she was laying down, she was looking at the treat, which is not like her. Normally she looks directly at my eyes, but even putting this face mask on made it hard for her. So you can practice a few repetitions of this inside the house where you're just working on getting your dog comfortable with giving you eye contact, even when you've got something weird over your face. For dogs, this is going to be really great in helping them generalize and make sure that you can get these skills from them when out in public. For our puppies, this is going to be really important for socialization because our puppies are going to be experiencing people wearing face masks for a big portion of their early life. And so we want them to feel confident when they're giving eye contact, no matter what I look like. So it's a great opportunity to work on socialization for puppies and for our older dogs to start working on boosting their confidence and generalizing. Now, once you've got attention and attention is easier for them, then what we want to do is start working on other cues. So you could pick a hand target, a sit, a down, whatever you'd like. And it's going to be the same thing. We're going to put a mask on or a bandana or a scarf over our face and then practice a few repetitions of another skill. So we're going to go ahead and work on a few repetitions of a hand target just so that you guys can see what that looks like. All right, you ready? Good. Oh dear. You flew that cookie. What are you doing? All right, you ready? Here. Good. Here. Here. Good. Now, as our dogs are getting more and more confident with it, we can even change it up one more level. So lots of people wear sunglasses when they go outside. Having a mask on with sunglasses could be super intimidating for a dog. What is that? It's going to look like a scary monster. So by practicing at home with your dog, not only are you helping them figure out, okay, that's weird, but it's okay. Good things are still going to happen. But you're also helping them generalize so that if you take your dog out on a walk wearing a mask and sunglasses, your dog's going to be like, okay, no big deal. I can still respond to my person. They've had practice with it. So that's our goal, is helping prepare our dogs so that if we take them out and we're wearing masks, they can still respond. Additionally, if they see somebody else wearing a mask and sunglasses, they're going to be like, okay, no big deal. That's not a monster. It's not a big deal. Okay, so step one is mask, then mask and sunglasses, working on attention on cue and other known behaviors. Sit, down, settle on a mat, hand target, so that our dogs are starting to generalize this behavior, even with the presence of a mask, okay? Now, the second thing that I want to talk about today is looking away from these things. So obviously, it's quite alarming to see somebody wearing a mask and gloves and sunglasses, right? I know that I have certainly been out in public, and especially in the beginning, as people were starting to wear more masks out in public, you would see it and it would catch your eye. And I know what's going on, right? It's something that I can comprehend. But for a dog, if they don't understand it, it could be alarming for them. So what we want to start to do is say, you can pay attention to me even when I'm wearing a mask, even when I'm wearing sunglasses, but I'd like you to look away from other people, because remember, we're still going to be social distancing for a while. And so we need our dogs to be able to look at us and move away from somebody else or another dog. So what we want to do is we want to boost practice of our attention getters. So either the name game, where we say the dog's name and they look, or watch me. We also want to work on let's go, which means follow me, right? So if I'm going to change directions, instead of just pulling my dog, I give them a verbal signal that indicates, hey, I'm about to change directions. You should move with me. The other thing that you can practice is your leave it. So remember, leave it means look at me instead of that. So that would be a nice thing to do if your dog is kind of, oh, what is that, right? And we're trying to get them to move away and look at us instead. So you have lots of options. We have tutorials on our YouTube channel that are free and available to you guys on the name game and let's go and leave it. So if you need practice with those skills and you're not sure how to teach them, you can take a look at our YouTube for a more in-depth look at it. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you real quick just a few of those skills kind of in action. So, you ready? All right. Sit. Oh. Good job, thanks. So let's go means follow me. So I'm going to ask her to start moving in my direction. Let's go. Yes. And the moment she moves with me, I click and treat. Let's go. Nice. Let's go. Awesome. Let's go. Yes. Let's go. Yeah, good girl. All right, so that's a really nice way to get your dog changing directions with you. And it's a fun one to practice on walks. So if she is next to me, change mechanics here for just a minute. Oops, here. Oh. Sit. Nice. So if she's next to me and we're walking this direction, I see another dog. I'm going to change directions and reinforce her for moving with me. So we're going this way. Good job. Let's go. Yes, good girl. And keep that excitement and energy level up. Good girl. Over here. as we are moving away from the other dog, reinforcing her for that nice decision to follow me instead of engaging too much with the other person or the other dog. Okay. Now, leave it. Generally, when I start teaching leave it, I start with food in my hand. And remember that leave it means look at me instead of that. So I'm going to tilt this screen down for you guys for just a minute so you can see. Yeah. Nice, thanks. So I've got food in one hand, food in the other hand. Down. Thank you. I'm going to present food to her in one hand. When she leaves it alone and looks at me instead, I click and deliver the treat from another hand. Whoops. Down. Leave it. Good girl. Nice. Was that hard? You're so excited today. Leave it. Good girl. And one more time. Leave it. Good. Nice. All right, come here, baby. Settle. Nice. Now the reason, tilt you guys back up here. The reason that I like to feed them from another hand with leave it is because if you think about maybe them walking down the street, you see some trash or something on the ground that you don't want them to get. If my dog is used to getting the reward from the same hand that they're leaving, then I'm basically teaching them, oh, good job. And then it means they're allowed to go get that item, which when I'm using leave it, it's for safety purposes. So they're never really allowed to get that item. So I always practice, hi, you're going to leave this alone and you're never going to get this. You're going to get something from the other hand. So that's an easy one that you can practice at home. We've got lots of tutorials on our YouTube channel for that. We have leave it with food in the hand. We have leave it generalizing other objects. We have leave it where you drop items. And then we even have leave it where you walk past items. So that's a really nice game that you can play with dogs of all ages. Puppies all the way up to adults. Not only is it going to give you an activity to practice to work the brain, but it's going to help improve those manners or those obedience skills so that when you guys are out in public and you see another dog, you see another person, and we are still social distancing, you can ask them to leave that alone and look at you instead. So it's a great thing to practice with them. All right. So number one is eye contact and generalizing response to cues with masks and sunglasses. The next thing is looking at me or looking away from other things or moving away from other things when outside. So we're going to boost practice of the name game or attention on cue. We're going to work on leave it. We're also going to work on let's go, which means follow me. And the last thing that we want to talk about today is relaxation at a distance. So again, we're probably going to be social distancing from people for a long time. And for a lot of our dogs, inability to get to something exciting can create a lot of frustration. And generally that frustration comes out and we see some inappropriate behaviors or some undesirable behaviors. We might see pulling on the leash, barking, we might see all kinds of vocalizations, some of which could sound really intense, but it's just the dog being frustrated because they're unable to get to the other person. So on top of working on attention and impulse control, we also want to be working on relaxation at a distance. And I really think this is important. And I think that we've been hitting hard on this with a lot of our puppy people right now because for socialization purposes, they are unable to get in close contact with people and dogs for the majority of the cases. And so what we want to start to do is teach them that, hey, if you chill with me, which is what Lucy's doing right here. This is beautiful. Actually, I'm going to take you guys off my computer real quick. So look at that. That's what we want. And she's a little blurry. Sorry about that. She's just hanging out with me here on her mat. And that's exactly what we want. We want to say, hey, can you chill with me? Well, we're not really doing anything. Be relaxed and just watch the world go by. And it's really hard for a lot of dogs to maintain that nice relaxation, that nice settle. And we want to work on that. It's an easy thing that you can practice while social distancing to not only help improve your dog's manners and their impulse control, but also for those younger puppies, get some socialization in. So what you're going to do, you're going to grab a settle mat or a magic mat, whatever you call it, and we want to head outside with our dogs. You're going to lay the mat down at your feet. You can stand. You can also sit. You can also sit on the blanket with your puppy or your dog. And what we're going to do is we're going to reinforce calm and relaxed behavior. So down, stationary sit you can start with if you need to. And you're going to use random reinforcement to remind your dog, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. This is a good thing to do. If your dog is high energy or easily excited, oh, hi, shout out from the Philippines. Thanks for joining us. So if your dog is excited or has a lot of energy, it's a good idea to give yourself a little bit of exercise, give your dog a little bit of exercise before you practice this. Because remember, if we've given them the opportunity to kind of release some of this excited energy in another way, it's going to be easier for them to be relaxed. So that's our goal, success, right? Setting up this session so that our dog can be successful. So a little bit of exercise, play, or training, then grab your mat and head outside with your dog. Stand next to them, sit in a chair, or sit on a blanket with them, and you're going to reward them for calm behavior, stationary behavior, quiet behavior, okay? And you're going to reward them for maintaining all of that as somebody passes you. So a dog, a kid on a bike, a person jogging. We want to let our dog know that good things happen for being relaxed and stationary as all of those exciting things pass versus jumping at them, lunging at them, barking at them. If your dog is overly excited or easily excitable or maybe even reactive, you're going to need more space. So be smart about where you set up that settle mat and what time of day you're doing it. Our goal is success. So if I've got a dog, and Lucy actually is one of those who's easily excitable, you could see during the training that she was offering all kinds of things because she was so excited that it was her special time. For those dogs, we're going to need more distance from the exciting things passing. And over time, with successful repetitions, you're going to be able to get that mat closer and closer to all of those things, okay? So I'm going to demo real quick. I've got a settle mat behind me here, what that might look like, so that you guys can kind of practice this at home. So I'm going to tilt my screen down for you here. All right, pretty girl, you ready? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the mat down. And she has had training already with this mat, so she knows that she's supposed to camp out on it. If your dog doesn't know what they're supposed to do yet with the mat, you can take a treat in front of their nose, guide them onto the mat, and lure them into a sit. So I'm just taking this cookie, let me reset you. Taking this cookie in front of her nose, guiding her onto the bed, and then lifting up. Nice. And if I wanted to even get her in a down, I take that treat from her nose, bring it straight down to the ground. Nice. And pay her there. Now what I want is that she can maintain this behavior for a little bit of duration while the world passes, okay? So every once in a while, I'm just gonna bend down and drop a treat to her. You can either feed them directly, or you can drop the treat onto the mat. However, be mindful because we want our treat delivery to encourage more of the behavior that we want. So I want to avoid tossing the treat. It bounces off the mat, and then my dog has to get up to go get it, right? That would be the opposite of what I want. I want maintaining nice, calm, relaxed behavior. So feeding to the mouth, or even dropping the treat down right in front of them so that they can stay in that position. And you can stand next to them, sit on the blanket with them, or sit in a chair outside and just watch the world go by. So I'm going to reward her for quiet, for down, ideally down over a sit because it's a little bit more relaxed. And every single time somebody is going to pass, I increase how frequently I'm delivering treats to remind her that attention to me, relaxed behavior is more desirable and is better paying than if she watches the other dogs and people pass by. Good girl. So this is something that you could do daily. Nice. All right. Settle. Nice. All right. So when you guys are working on this, Be selective about the time of day you're practicing. Again, if I've got a young puppy who's maybe on the shy side, or a dog who's on the shy or reactive side, I want to pick a quieter time of day because I want my dog to be able to practice this. I'm also going to be strategic about how far I put that mat from all of those distractions or triggers that are passing. The goal is relaxation at a distance. So by controlling my value of treat and how rewarding I am, how frequently I'm treating, how many triggers or exciting things there are passing, and then how far away we are from them, we can get nice relaxation from our dogs. And over repetition, over several days, several weeks, your dog will get more and more relaxed in that environment, and it's going to be easier for them to do it. And so you're going to be able to slowly creep that mat up closer and closer. And this is going to help while we were all social distancing, help socialize puppies, and help prevent these dogs from getting frustrated, right? Because a lot of our dogs are used to being able to do leash interactions with people or with other dogs. And so all of a sudden now they're not able to, and they're going to get frustrated not being able to have that social outlet. So practicing relaxation around all of these things, letting them know that, hey, this pays better, that is going to be better for you. So things we want to work on right now to help our dogs prepare for the changes we're experiencing now out in the real world with the pandemic, and things we're going to be experiencing for a while. This is not going to be a quick blow over, all of a sudden it's gone situation. These situations will be coming and going in waves for a while. And so it's important for us as pet people to set our dogs up for success and practice some of these things now while we've got some free time, so that when we go out on walks, when we're hanging out in our front yards, we're not seeing a bunch of fearful or inappropriate behaviors from our dogs. So bring out your mask or your scarf or bandana, whatever you might have, even a towel if you don't have it, and put it over your face to block your nose and your mouth. We're changing the picture for our dogs so that we can not only boost confidence, especially with these puppies, right? And go, hi, it's the same thing we've always done. Look, I just look a little different and it's no big deal, right? And with our older dogs, helping them generalize these behaviors of the name game or attention on cue, sit down, hand target, so that when we go out on a walk with our dogs, if we have to wear that face mask, we're not going to have a hard time getting behaviors from our dog because they're already used to, I can respond to these things even when you have a face mask on. The next step from that, put on your face mask and either reading glasses or sunglasses. Again, changing the way you look, helping your dog boost confidence and generalize these skills. Next thing we want to do is practice our lookaways and move away from exciting things. So people, dogs, squirrels, even cardboard boxes. Practice your attention, your leave it, your let's go, so that your dog is used to looking at you, looking away from other things, and moving away with you. It's going to be easier for you to practice these things now and start setting up different levels of distraction so that your dog knows, hey, it's a good thing to look at my person and move with them away from something that could be exciting or dangerous. And then we want to practice our relaxation, because all this social distancing and inability to get to our friends, it's going to create frustration. So we have to make sure that we're counteracting that by practicing relaxation. So bringing our settle mats out there, sitting or standing with our dogs at a far distance and letting them just look at the world. Reward them for looking at you. Reward them for sit. Reward them for down. Reward them for quiet. Reward them for quietly watching my neighbor, Fred, and his dog walk past my house, right? We're gonna reward our dog for all of the good things. And if they're having trouble with those good things, help them. And you can help them by either increasing how much you're reinforcing the good. You could lure them back into a down if they got up and got excited. But if you're having trouble getting the desirable behavior, it's a good indicator that either excitement level is too high or we're too close. So remember, we can't control how fast my neighbor's kids are driving their bikes up and down the road, but I can control the value of treat I have, how engaged my dog is, and how far away we are from those exciting things. The closer we are to those exciting, or they could be scary for your dog or your puppy, the closer you are to it, usually the harder it is for them. The further away, they feel safer. They don't feel like it's gonna, jump on top of them. Or for these exciting dogs, they go, okay, that's really far away. That's not as exciting. There's other things closer. So be strategic when you do these training sessions. This would be an easy thing that you could do every single day with your dog. So I'm challenging you to get your masks out, get your glasses out, get your settle mat out, and start working on all of these skills to help your dog deal with all of these changes. Because if we prepare them now, not only are we going to have more success, we're going to have less stress. They're going to have less stress. And it's going to be easier for us to have these well-behaved dogs out in public. So if you guys have questions about any of these, please feel free to drop them in the comments. For those of you that joined us, we appreciate you and we hope that this was helpful for you. All right, guys, have a lovely day.